everyone? Welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about 2003's High Tension and its brand new second sight 4K Blu-ray that just came out. So High Tension just celebrated 20 years since its first release. This is a French slasher film directed by Alexandre Aja, and if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, then he also directed the 2006 The Hills Have Eyes remake and 2019's Crawl, which I know a lot of people really enjoyed that film. But High Tension over the years has developed a pretty damn big cult following. A lot of people love this movie. I had actually only seen this movie once back in the 2000s. It didn't really make too big of an impression on me, but since it was getting a second sight 4K Blu-ray release, I thought, you know what, this is a good enough time to check it out again, and I'm really glad I did because this movie is pretty good. It's one of the better ones of the 2000s horror genre. I would actually say the years from 2000 or 2009 are some of my least favorite years in horror. It's just mainly because of the cinematography that they were doing. They had a lot of blue and green filters, and they just oversaturated the films. And you know, this is the rise of digital cameras, and we just got some really ugly looking movies from 2000 to 2009. And I actually kind of wrote High Tension into that, but I was really wrong about that. This movie's actually pretty well shot. Yes, it's got that blue-green look to it that you knew from that era, but maybe the 4K Blu-ray was doing a little bit more work now, and I was appreciating the visuals for this film, but I really didn't appreciate it at the time. And a big reason of that is the plot. It's a very straightforward slasher plot. Two girls, Alex and Marie, they're heading off to Alex's family farmhouse. They're there to study. You know, it's a quiet setting. They're just there to study and just catch up and get ready for their college exams. But when they get there, all of a sudden the shit hits the fan and a guy knocks on the door. Right away kills Alex's father, and now that's it. He's there to kill everybody else. And this is where we get some gruesome, over-the-top, gory kills that they really linger on for a long, long time, to the point that when this was released in the United States to get an R rating, they had to cut stuff. They also dubbed it for the United States audience, and that dub, that's how I saw it the first time, so I actually haven't seen the official version, the real version, until now. And they actually cut stuff from that version. Not only do they dub it horribly, it's a bad, bad dub, but they also cut stuff out of it. There's a kill very early in the movie where the guy takes like a bookshelf almost and slams it into another guy's head and cuts it off, and we see the blood just pouring out of his head, and we linger on that for a good amount of time. In the original release, the original United States release, we cut away from that and we just see the head already gone. You know, we kind of see it hit it, and then that's it. We cut again and we're back and the head's already missing. We do not linger on that shot at all. Same thing with one other kill in this movie, which is again very over the top and gruesome. We kind of see it happen, we cut, and then we're back, and it's like, okay, we don't want to linger on that too much. We want to get that R rating and not that NC-17 rating here in the United States. And actually in the United Kingdom, this movie was actually called Switchblade Romance, which does make a lot of sense as well, but High Tension is a very catchy name, and the movie poster for this film also stands out in the crowd. Like I said, this movie though, very straightforward slasher film. We're kind of building up to the final girl versus this killer, you know, but in between that we get some great kills. We really do get some great tension. The score itself is great as well, and the music choices that they play in here, the licensed tracks, there's about 4 or 5 of them. They all are perfect choices. But what people really remember about this film and what they kind of take away from it is the plot and story at the end of the day, and this movie builds up to a conclusion that doesn't work for a lot of people. And I'll be honest, you could drive a truck through the plot hole, and Roger Ebert even made this joke about it in his review when he gave this film 1 out of 4 stars, that the plot hole is big enough to drive a truck through, and they literally drive a truck through it, and he's not wrong about that. But the ending to this movie didn't bother me that much. If you guys remember the early 2000s, we were getting a lot of twist endings, almost to the point where a lot of movies felt like they had to give it to us, because this movie itself, it feels like we're building up to the conventional slasher ending, which would have made a lot of sense, and I think a lot of people wouldn't have been let down by it, because you can clearly see the influence of movies like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a lot of those like gritty, dirty 70s horror films on this film, and it kind of felt like it was building up to a classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre ending, an ending that we kind of seen ripped off in a lot of other films. But unfortunately, this one decides to go for the big plot twist, and when you start thinking about it, it turns into Swiss cheese, and there are a lot of plot holes in the very end of this movie, almost to the point where you're like, they didn't have to do that. It almost felt like they wanted to do that to have it fit in and have people talking about it, but I think it left people talking about it in the wrong way. So, yes, I was a little bit disappointed by the ending, but I wasn't overly disappointed. In fact, it was like to the point where I'm like, everything that led up to this was so good. The tension was so good. The score was so good. It was so well shot, pretty well acted. No one's going to win an award for it, but still pretty well acted. I understand what they were going for, but it doesn't entirely work. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't understand why people were disappointed by it, but I knew it was coming, so maybe, I braced myself, and it didn't bother me as much this time, but yes, it is a flaw, and it comes at the absolute worst time in the film. So if you do walk away from the ending going, oh man, that doesn't work for me, I completely understand that, but the film itself, overall, I still think is a great slasher film, and going back and watching a good slasher film, it really is special because we don't get too many of these anymore. That's why I was so thrilled last year when we got Thanksgiving. I just enjoy a good, straightforward slasher film with some great gory special effects and great practical effects at that, and this movie does feature that as well, and you throw in some licensed songs that really get me into it. This is the kind of movie I definitely recommend you guys check out if you haven't seen it. But let's talk about the Second Sight 4K Blu-ray right now. I actually think this is my first Second Sight 4K Blu-ray release here on the channel, if you can believe that one. Second Sight is a UK boutique label. They do a lot of great limited edition releases. Last year we got It Follows. They were also the people behind that great Dawn of the Dead 4K Blu-ray release. But for the most part, they're UK releases, so we don't really get them here in the US. And if they do come with Blu-rays, they're always region B. So I'm always hesitant to buy them, but I've kind of really gotten into buying imports and importing UK releases or any other region releases here to the United States. And I credit a lot of that to websites like Diabolic DVD or the Atomic Movie Store, which I just used for the first time. They're the ones who actually gave me this high tension 4K Blu-ray. Well, not gave it to me, I bought it, but they shipped it to me really fast, wrapped it in bubble wrap. I mean, great job by the Atomic Movie Store. I'm going to be ordering from them again. So if you guys live in the United States and you want some imports, I can definitely recommend those two websites. I've used them both, and they get it to you fast. They get it to you clean, no damage at all. It does feel like the people who work at those companies really do put their heart and soul into it and actually care about the customers, whereas for the most part, we deal with corporations like Best Buy and Amazon where they're dealing with such a broad amount of customers. We don't get that love and care that we would get from sites like Diabolic DVD and the Atomic Movie Store. So, because I can't really import them right from Second Sight, I actually ended up going with the region-free 4K Blu-ray release. This is a very bare bones package, whereas if you ordered the regular edition, the regular nice limited edition with the really beautiful Second Sight packaging that they're known for, then you really got very lucky. But I decided just to go with this mainly because I don't have a region B player, so I just went and got the 4K Blu-ray. The 4K Blu-ray in here does feature all the extras, but if you look at the regular packaging, it's just very bare bones. It's pretty much what came in the actual high tension packaging, so they just kind of took that out of that, gave it to you like this, which is fine. I'm more than okay with that. So you get one 4K disc in there. It's a 4K Blu-ray disc, so that means it's region free. If you end up buying that limited edition release, the Blu-ray that's packed in there is Region B, so you'll need a Region B player to play that. But if you get this 4K Blu-ray release that I did, it's about $27 compared to the $46 that the high tension limited edition Second Sight release is. Now with that beautiful limited edition box set, you get postcards, you get some reading material, really nice stuff. So if you're a fan of high tension, that's the route I would recommend going. And you might want to get them while it's still in stock, because I know Second Sight releases, they sell out fast. I actually wanted to get the It Follows release last year, but it sold out so quick. Now all I can do is get the similar version, like high tension, which I might end up picking up. I'm also going to get Green Room in the very similar packaging to this, but just know it's very bare bones. It does kind of feel cheap, but it's cheap for a reason, because it's just getting you this beautiful disc, and the disc itself is phenomenal. I mean, they give us so many new extras. Now the new extras are all new interviews, but they also give us a bunch of archived extras, including a making of, which I really did appreciate as well. It really was a solid amount of extras. Second Sight is always known for doing some amazing transfers and for giving you a bunch of different extras. They really do cater to the collector out there. That's why they are one of the best boutique labels. I haven't reviewed them yet just because I haven't had any new releases that I had to own day one, but I hadn't seen high tension in so long. I really decided that this was the time to finally review one here on the channel and see what these visuals are all about, because they really are very proud of their HDR10 transfer, but it also features Dolby Vision, and that HDR10 transfer is slightly better than the Dolby Vision. I mean, it's not that much, but I think that the HDR10 Plus actually handles the film grain slightly better than it does on Dolby Vision, but either way, these are 10 out of 10 visuals. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. This film has never looked better, and this is a very dark dark film, like literally in the sense, it's not just dark in tone, it's dark in general. Like, it's visually very dark. This whole movie for the most part takes place at night, and there are a lot of scenes in the dark with a very low amount of light, and it handles that perfectly. I mean, I'm not talking, we don't have like that faded gray look to it. No, it's hitting those deep blacks. The film grain doesn't overwhelm the scene at all. All the colors look fantastic. I mean, it's just handling everything perfectly. And for a film that's 20 years old and it came out at a time where horror films were just looking very ugly to me, this one looks absolutely gorgeous. And I credit a lot of that to the second sight transfer. They did an amazing job on this. The visuals I have no complaints about. I was actually sitting there thinking, wow, this movie is beautiful. Like, the red blood just pops out at you. I mean, but really what stood out to me was a lot of the scenes, like in the very beginning and at the very end of the movie, when they're kind of in a forest and the green leaves, it just looks like it's like spring, and it's just all, the leaves are, we got the rain on them, and the leaves all just look like that beautiful green. And then the road itself, it looks black, and you can just see everything on the road. I mean, my God, the attention to detail with this 4K Blu-ray when it comes to the visuals is stunning. You're going to notice things that you've never noticed before. I have no complaints about the visuals. Now, the audio tracks, like I said, there used to be a dub for this. So if you were one of those people who did like that dub, it's gone. It's not on here. You're only going to be able to watch this with 2 audio tracks. Both are in French. So you're going to have a DTS HD 5.1 or a DTS 2.0, which is a mono track. And I tested them both out. Me personally, I would absolutely prefer the DTS HD 5.1, but the 2.0 was actually really good. I had really no issues with it. So if you're one of those people that wants to watch it with that and have it just be coming out of the 2 front channels, no issues with that. But I think the 5.1 was mixed very well. I did think that there could have been a little bit more room for improvement on it. I definitely thought there were areas where we could have made better use of the channels, but overall, it still was really good. There were points in this movie where you would feel like you heard something come from the right of the room, and then it might shift over to the left of the room. So they did a good job mixing the audio. It just felt like there was a little bit more that could have been used, but I'm not too sure what the source material looked like. I don't know how it was recorded back in the day. It still sounded good. I had no pops, no clicks, nothing like that. It came in crisp and clear. I was able to set the volume at whatever I wanted to watch it at, and it was fine. No issues at all. It's just, it kind of felt like it could have been a little bit more for a movie like this that has a great score to help build the tension. It also has great license track, and it actually has great sound effects. I felt like there could have been more to it, but it's still a really good one. I don't want to sell either track short. It just felt like there could have been more to it. So overall, this is a great release from Second Sight. I'm really happy that I picked this one up. I'm a little upset that I didn't get the collector's set. It'll bother me, I'm sure, but you know what? I saved 20 bucks and I was able to get another movie that I'm going to be reviewing here on the channel, Peeping Tom, on 4K Blu-ray. So I don't really regret it too much, but it definitely does feel a little bit cheaper to get this region-free 4K Blu-ray release compared to that beautiful packaging. So I can't really say that the packaging is bad because I actually just chose to get the cheaper packaging. In fact, I'm sure that the packaging in that limited collector's set is beautiful. The visuals are a 10 out of 10. The audio is really good. They gave you a lot of extras. So if you are a fan of High Tension, you owe it to yourself to grab that beautiful collector's edition. But if you're like me and you haven't seen it in years and you decided, all right, maybe this is the time I'll finally revisit it, I could definitely recommend you do that. I think you'll enjoy this film if you didn't enjoy it the first time around. I think once we've gotten enough time away from it, I think you're really going to enjoy it. But just remember that the plot and the story and that third act twist might not work so well for you. If you can get away from it and look past that and the way you're being sent home and appreciate the film for what it is before that, I think you'll really get a lot more enjoyment out of it because it is a very, very well-crafted, well-directed film. And I would give this entire 4K Blu-ray a really solid 9 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it here for me on another episode of Let's Talk. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, or if you even want to become a channel member like our producers John Doe Juggalo, Jason Martin, Mr. Smelly Potato, or a channel director like Frank's Media Reviews, check out his YouTube channel as well. We even have a cheaper tier called Friends of the Channel. That's $2.99 a month if you want to support us that way. We would really appreciate it. But if you got no money to throw our way, there is no pressure at all. We just appreciate you guys checking out this video, and we really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you guys get out in those streets and tell your friends about us. And after that, we'll be seeing you around.